All right, what up, people? It's your boy Chick from Unit Eagle Eye, coming to you again with a brand new video. This time, it's another episode of Eagle Eye, the Arsenal rumour transfer show, where I basically just talk about a load of rumours surrounding the club. Most of them will be transfer player based, transfer talk, but it could just be general news about the club. It really just depends. It's a rumour show, people. I'll be talking about Arsenal for the most part. So let's first things first. So let me talk about the story that I was almost going to do a show about yesterday. But then when I read the initial story, and I read it yesterday, I thought, well, this is just the Sun talking shit because there isn't really, there's no reason for the story. There was no real source of the story. There was no real rhyme or reason. There was no quote they were working from. They just kind of suggested that, what if Arsenal were to do a deal with Barcelona? Remember, Barcelona are one of the two teams that Ramsey's always wanted to go to. Aaron Ramsey for some time has been linked with a move to Barcelona, and it usually comes off the back of him doing really well in the season. Then you'll suddenly start seeing links to Barcelona. And I guess that's an ideal move. If he is going to leave Arsenal, you would rather he leaves Arsenal and goes abroad. But if he leaves Arsenal and then we bring in a player of the caliber of Dembele, and a lot of people have been asking me, would I do it 50 million plus Ramsey? Honestly, fuck yeah. I would even fucking hesitate. Yep. Yes, please. Yes. 100% yes. I wouldn't even. Normally, I put votes and stuff and polls and stuff on my Twitter page. Just wanted to even need it. This one was just well, duh. This one is not even a debate. And I thought Ramsey had a good season. Did I think he necessarily deserved player of the season the way people were banging on? No. I would have given that to Monreal. You guys know that. But to me, I don't even think it's a discussion. I think it's, well, of course I would do that deal. If there's any possible way that deal could be done, I think we should do it. But I don't really want to dwell on this story just because I'm not seeing anything that makes me think that this is even a possibility. I think the Ramsey thing is an interesting debate, and I don't want to harp on about it a lot because I have done in my last episode at Eagle Eye, so Aaron Ramsey. I think one way or another we need to start making a decision about what we want to do. Chelsea are circling him. I'm surprised Liverpool are coming in for him. They like their British players. But I do think we need to make some sort of decision one way or another. If he's not going to sign on, we've got less than 2 weeks left for the season. Or is it? I don't even think it's less. Yeah, it is less. It's less than 2 weeks of the season now. We need to know what we're doing one way or another. And I would like Ramsey to stay, but if we have to move on without him, then let us do it. Let's make a decision and go forward. So yeah, for me, that would be what I'd do. I'd be looking to sell Ramsey if by the end of this week he's not looking to sign on. We must make a fucking stand, and it's time for us to make a fucking stand. Next story, Lucas Perez. So you guys, if any long-term or reasonably long-term subscriber of mine knows, I'm a massive fan of Lucas Perez. I had a minor meltdown when he was loaned out last season just because I felt like he had a really good season. I think the debate about whether or not you'd keep Lucas Perez or Danny Welbeck is a fucking amazingly ridiculous one. Let me think. One player makes you score goals, and the other player, for all of his efforts of running and running and running, doesn't score goals. One player last season, which was seen as a terrible season for him, my man still got the most assists outside of Lionel Messi in the league. I mean, To me, it's not even a debate. I'd keep him because I think he's slightly different. He's probably most like Lacazette, to be fair, but I still think even in that, he's slightly different to Lacazette. I think Lacazette's a little bit quicker, a little bit more nimbler. Whereas Lucas Perez, I think he is a little bit more technical than Lacazette, especially with his feet, a little bit more educated with his feet. Bought in for 17 million. Keep that in mind. Arsenal are the only fucking team. I tell you, they're the only team in the world where if you're trying to buy a player for them, just hold on for a second, because you can guarantee you get that player dirt cheap. Bought him for 17 million, and the player has at least proved himself to be of a certain level. I think we could at least all agree that. But for some stupid reason, the price that they're talking about selling him for is 7 million. 7 million. I know he's 30 years old, but fuck, 7 million. I'm not gonna lie to you. That was kind of like, hey, 7 million. It kind of unsettled me. But it is what it is, man. For me, it really depends. If we're looking to raise funds for a Dembele deal, then all right. Even I will say, as much as I love Perez, it's a necessary sacrifice to get a bigger price. But if it's just selling Perez because we want to balance the books, then fuck that, because I think we need him. I would like to keep him. I'd personally sell Welbeck, because I just think he's come to the end of his shelf life. He's in his last year of his contract. Doesn't look like he's going to stay. Doesn't look like the board particularly wants him to stay. So I've heard no stories about us offering him shit. So it'd be interesting to see. I think he's due back to training, is it next week? So it'd be interesting to see exactly how he integrates back into the squad, especially under Emery. I am a little surprised that if Emery does get rid of him, it does seem like he'd be an Emery type of player, bar the lack of finishing part. But he does work hard. One thing you'll never fault Welbeck for. He works hard. I'd still sell him, but he works hard. But yeah, it is what it is. And then Chuba Akpom. I kind of feel a little bit gutted for Chuba, man. It's never quite worked out for Chuba, man. It's never quite happened for Chuba Akpom. He's 22 years old now. I was shocked to hear he's that old, to be fair. Things have always sort of gotten in the way of him, whether it's just been strikers that have got in the way, injuries that have got in the way, loan spells that started well and then he got injured and then he doesn't quite recover from that. Chuba has always been one that I think a lot of people had hope for. At least, fuck it, I was one of the people that had high hopes for Chuba Akpom. I thought he was going to be something. I thought he was going to be something really special. And to be fair, even when I went to the Norwich game and Chuba was playing in that game, I thought he did reasonably well for the cameo that he had. He has something. I'm not quite sure what it is. I don't think he's a striker, though. That's the only problem. But this is just part of that kind of Wenger legacy of a player who has not quite fully developed in the position that perhaps they should have. So they're kind of caught in between positions. So they're not quite a striker, but you wouldn't necessarily say they were number 10. So are they a winner? And that's what Chuba is. So he's made 12 appearances in the Gunners for Arsenal. Made his debut in 2013. But what can I say? It looks like he's off to Greece to kickstart his career. And this is another example of a player who, for some reason, we've just allowed these teams to drive the price down. He started off at £2 million and we were going to sell him. Now he's said to be worth £790,000. that he's going to be going to the Greek side, PAOK. I don't know, man. I wish Chuba all the best. For me, I still like the player a lot. Like I say, I still think he has something, but he's just part of a Deadwood that, unfortunately, needs to leave. It even pains me calling him Deadwood, but it is what it is. So good luck, Chuba Akpom, and yeah, I wish you all the best. The next story that kind of broke yesterday, which I'm kind of late to the party with, was Matt Macy. So Matt Macy signed a contract, I believe in May, maybe April. Signed a new Arsenal contract. I think it was a new 5-year deal. But then obviously Emre came in and he's been making a lot of noises about goalkeepers. And the names that he hasn't mentioned is Matt Macy. And I guess we can now see why. So the 23-year-old has actually been loaned to Plymouth Argyle for a season-long loan. He has been for a couple of for a couple of loans during his time at Arsenal. One with Luton, and one with Accrington Stanley. So it's not something let's be real here. It's something that he's used to. And I don't know, I guess with Matt, I do have high hopes for him. The one appearance I saw of him in the League Cup, I thought he did reasonably well. Made one really good stretching save. Tall keeper, you guys know I like my two tall goalkeepers. But he's 23 years old. For a goalkeeper, he's a baby. So there's plenty of time for him to come back, develop, and, when Czech leaves, maybe he can fight for a number 3 place. It does look as though, with him going on loan, I would suggest that Martinez is probably staying on. It does look like Martinez is playing quite well in training, so we'll see what happens. Speaking of keepers that we're trying to let go of, David Ospina looks to be leaving Arsenal to go to Turkish side Besiktas. The name I can never pronounce properly. Now, I don't know. This is another one where his price seems to have been driven down. Now it's to the point where people are like, fuck that, let's just get him on loan. And now they're talking about just loaning David Ospina for the season. So I guess this is our way of just getting him off the books at the very least. I think Ospina has 2 years left on his contract, so if he does leave, we'll face this dilemma about whether to sell him again next year. But so yeah, it looks like David Ospina is about to leave the club. So there are all the exits. Let me talk about some potential purchases. So there was a story that broke this morning before I left for work, and that is a Manx star, John Philippe Gabin. I hope I've said that right. Probably not. Supposedly, they rejected a £31 million bid from a Premier League team. Now, this is a classic case of the papers kind of seeing 2 + 2, it must equal Arsenal. Because I remember I've seen this name before, and it turns out that Arsenal were being linked for a move for him in June. Defensive midfielder, someone who the man's team look determined to keep. He started 29 games. He started 29 of. My brain's gone. He started 29 of Manchester games and 34 matches last term. Apparently, he's a really good player. 22 years old. And a Premier League team launched a £31 million bid, but there is no confirmation about who that team was. Now, one would suggest that it could be us. Now, we were linked to them earlier in the summer. I guess they see that Aaron Ramsey is about to go, so maybe we need a midfielder. But I'd like to focus you guys on the fact that this is a defensive midfielder we're talking about. I'm sorry, only Arsenal can be linked with number 8s and attacking midfielders when we need defensive midfielders. We get our defensive midfielders in, and then we start being linked with defensive midfielders. It's just that's just the way these papers seem to work. But it'd be interesting. I'm all for big. I do like a defensive midfielder. I do. I think it's the central defender in there. I do like a defensive midfielder. But I don't know if that's the thing we need right now. You know, I think if we're looking at potential Ramsey solutions, we have to be looking at slightly more offensive people who are going to potentially replace the goals we lose in losing Aaron Ramsey. But it is what it is. Apparently, we're being linked with a 22 or 31 million pound bid. The player himself would like to go to this team, apparently, whoever it is that's bid this money for him. So I guess it's kind of wait and see what happens time with this. But yeah, an interesting story that popped up. And that's pretty much it, people. I think what you're going to find is that stories are going to start to pick up probably towards the weekend, I would imagine. You know, it's the last weekend before the Premier League season actually starts. So all your fantasy football teams, you might as well get them ready now. So I think it's your last weekend before the Premier League season starts. So I think you're going to get people, you know, just start to link stories. And let's face it, the transfer window closes next week. So remember, it closes before the season starts. So you're going to start to see more and more stories that pick up a little bit more. No doubt we'll be either denying that we even know who the fucking player is, or we're going to be making some sort of play. Either way, I think the next week or to 10 days are going to be very, very interesting. Anyway, people, that's it from me. You guys let me know what you think of the stories I've talked about today. Leave it in the comments below. Also, crush, destroy, drop kick, DDT the shit out of that like button. I appreciate it every time you guys do that. It really helps the show. Helps the show get noticed. So I appreciate any likes I get on this. Hopefully within the next couple of days, I'll be doing a show with Lee. I'll check in on him because Lee's a busy boy. So I've got to check in on him. We did plan Thursday. I'm going to have to remind him though, because this is Lee. So, I love him, but I'm going to have to remind him. So if that's the case, in a couple of days' time, me and Lee will just do basically a pre-season kind of show. I'm going to do basically two pre-season shows. So I'm going to do one with just me and Lee, just because you guys keep asking for me and Lee shows, so I'll do that for you guys. And then I'm also going to do one. I'm planning to do one on Sunday. A few different new people. We're speaking to a lot of new people that I had on the show. So it's just a case of getting them all on. I don't tend to do a show with more than 3 others, otherwise it just gets a bit cluttered. So stay tuned for that. The best way of doing that by following me on Twitter @ColossalCheek. The link is in the description below. All right, people, I think that's pretty much everything from me. I hope you guys enjoy your Tuesday evening. And I'll see you real soon. Take care. Deuces.